Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Marketing Monday. My name is Chris. I'm happy to have you guys here today. Bill's going to try and join us in a second. He's actually on the road right now, so he'll hop in. But as you guys hop in, drop your name and where you're from in the chat. And I'm really excited to kind of go over what we're going to go over today. So we've done a bunch of different Marketing Mondays covering a bunch of different topics, but one of the ones I really want to go over today is actually artificial intelligence. But as always, if you have specific questions, if there's anything you want answers to, drop them in the chat. We love to hear those as well. But I'm going to kind of get into what I'm going to talk about. Bill will probably hop in and join us as he's able to get an internet connection where he's at. And he'll talk a little bit about what he's doing, I'm sure, when he hops in. But I want to talk a lot about AI today. And I guess I should probably go into it before I hop actually over into Chat GPT. So there's a lot of things that people hear about AI or artificial intelligence. What's it used for? How do you really use it? And a lot of people struggle with, they kind of see it. So I'll use Chat GPT as an example, is the one that we use most commonly, that they see it as a tool, but don't necessarily know how to get the most out of the tool. And so like any other tool, if I'm learning a hammer or a saw or anything like that, that if you don't really know what you're doing with it, I can make some basic things. I might make some basic furniture, but it's not the same as someone who's like a woodworker, right? And so that's kind of what I want to talk about with ChatGPT today. That's one thing to kind of, I can ask it some things and it writes some stuff for me, but it's another thing to be able to really, really dive into. And actually, there's Bill right there. Hey, Bill.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing today?
I am doing well.
I'm sure you're probably as snowy, well, probably snowier than it is here.
I am nowhere.
Yeah.
I am in an undisclosed location.
Love that. I was just talking a little bit about some of the artificial intelligence stuff, but is there anything you specifically, while I have you, want to talk about today?
From a marketing perspective, I'm in a place that is absolutely insane and completely unexpected with traffic drivers. You can probably hear the Madonna Vogue in the background. It's actually kind of crazy where John and I are at right now. Something that was completely unexpected that gives us a tremendous amount of marketing ability if we make an investment here. So that's something that I am always looking at when I'm evaluating properties pre-purchase. Can you hear Madonna? Can you hear Madonna thumping behind me back there?
No. Hey, blessings to the iPhone. Freaking noise cancellation is incredible. I literally only hear your voice, which is kind of crazy.
That is, it's pumping back there, and if you can see what's going on around, I don't want to show too much to give it away. But what are we talking about today from a marketing perspective?
I'm leaning a little bit into AI. So it's been something that kept popping up. I don't think I've ever really talked about this and the particular way that we use it outside of like boot camps and inner circle and mastermind, that kind of thing. Those are the only ones that I've seen kind of the secret sauce, the way behind how we use it to actually be able to drive stuff. That was your
backup plan for today in case I didn't jump in and make it, right?
There's always a backup plan. You know how this works around here. Right. Gotta be ready. Gotta always be ready. But
yeah, so I'm going to share a couple of things before you, and then I'm going to let you run with the AI because you only have like 15 minutes or so by the time we're done here. I want everybody to fully understand that the market research part that John Hodge and I are doing right now is what creates the marketing for us, right? I mean, I can't believe that you can't hear Vogue just thumping back here, but if I show you, I'm going to see what I can show you without giving away where I'm at right now. So literally right down there, the DJ's over that way. I'm obviously at a ski resort here. There's just a tremendous amount of stuff that's going on. There's probably a good couple of thousand people that are here. There's a snowboard park about 5 minutes away. There is traffic drivers because of the rivers and the lakes and the fishing and the mountain biking and the ATVing and all that type of stuff around this location. It's a 4-season market, right? So what that does is that gives us the marketability to be able to market year round. And I think as Chris is going to talk about AI, one of the problems that all of us struggle with is creating content like for email. And if you use Market My STR, you should be implementing my 200-day funnel that is set up for you. That doesn't mean that we've written the content for you. You need to use that with your specific location and use prompts with what Chris is going to show you with ChatGPT and then also Jasper, which I believe Jasper is better from a copywriting standpoint, right? But this is the stuff in the research. I've never been where I'm at right now. This is not Whitefish, Montana. I promise you. John's never been here. We're literally spending 3 days, not only evaluating the purchase, but also gathering. We know, I shouldn't say that, but we're probably 75% certain that we're going to close and buy this this investment. What we don't know is all we didn't know was all the marketing opportunities that we have as we're doing this due diligence over the next 3 days. So I'm making notes, we're shooting video, we're taking photos, we're creating marketing now, like we're going to move forward and we're actually going to purchase, because we know we probably won't be back here based on our schedules until after due diligence is done, after the conference, before we close. So taking this opportunity, Chris, from the accelerator in the inner circle, that literally contract to close is one of the most pivotal times, not only to get everything staged and set up, but it's when I'm creating marketing material. But I also know, as I tell people to look at investing 2 to 3 properties down the road, I'm looking 3 months down the road in our schedule and what we're doing. And there's no time for me to get back on the road. My schedule is like travel every single week for the next 6 to 7 weeks. So I've got to create it while I'm here. So on the flight here, I was literally on Google the entire time, searching the surrounding areas inside of about a 20-mile trade radius to figure out what the additional traffic drivers are, because we honestly made the investment just based on where I'm standing right now. But I found like probably 2 other prime off-season traffic drivers, 3 tertiary traffic drivers, and a lot of small things that I can leverage from a marketing standpoint. So just like I talk about value stacking in our properties with smaller amenities and stuff like that, I'm looking for that same type of value stacking that's going to go into my marketing mix as well. And then that hopefully will transition you in. Well, Bill, what do you do when you leave? You can't create a year's worth of content while you're there. No shit, I can't. It's impossible. Even though I'm here for 2.5 days, but I've only really we travel yesterday, travel tomorrow, 1 full day while we're here. I can create content, but then I've got to rely on like ChatGPT. And I think a lot of people, Chris, don't understand that based on the level of commitment that you have with ChatGPT, free or a paid version for like 4 or some of the other things, it'll create images for you. It's going to give you video scripts. It's going to source content for you. There's a lot of things, if you really understand the prompts, on how you can truly use ChatGPT to create your content. Now, with that being said, in my opinion, it's a crutch. You can't rely on that 100%. You've still got to personalize. You've still got to customize. I almost never use ChatGPT for creating content. I use it for research, right? So take that with a grain of salt. I don't want you to go in and write the 12 or 15 emails that you're going to put into a full year's email funnel sequence and market my STR and just leverage ChatGPT. The reason that John and I are here is to live like a local. We're staying at the place that we have under contract. We're dining local. We're going to local areas. We're talking to local people. I've been here for almost 3 hours, right? And I've talked to 2 managers. I've talked to multiple bartenders. I've talked to the people that are taking, selling stuff and taking other stuff to get that full perspective. We sat down and talked to a guy, and here's what's really interesting from a marketing perspective. I know from my ground transportation space and having clients in like the New York area about how a lot of the Jewish people travel. Like if you're invested in Miami, that whole northern Miami, southern Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood area, I would be looking to buy next to a synagogue, and I'd be marketing directly into the Jewish community of Manhattan. The guy literally stopped John and I, and he's here, lives in New York City, and he was here with his son, and he's literally talking to us about, hey, you should target us before Passover. You'll be able to get 4 or 5 times your rent. And then he has a business in about 2 hours away from here. So we're talking about these opportunities. I knew that from a previous life in a different industry, but I'd never thought about that in the short-term rental space. And John and I now been strategizing at that, and we're looking at other Jewish holidays and the demographics that we can market into to open up a whole nother marketing segment, a whole nother persona for us.
Love that.
Sweet.
It's that deep. Go ahead.
I said sweet.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna say I think people underestimate. They see what you do, for example, and they see a fraction of it, but they don't see or even necessarily think of these things when it comes to. You're not just seeing an opportunity and like, oh yeah, that looks great over there, and then not putting your eyes on it, not visiting it, because that depth of knowledge of the area is what's going to translate not just to making sure this is a good investment or not, because you're putting your eyes on it, but also when it comes to messaging, who to reach for, your true buyer persona, all the parts and pieces, how to actually, what changes you're going to make to this particular piece of property. All that goes into the research you're doing right now that a lot of people just skip right past, and they go straight to like, this is my desired outcome or my feelings about it, instead of knowing the actual what's real, what people are saying, and using that data-driven information to make decisions.
It's because people are fucking lazy. Don't be lazy if you're watching this. Look, I've made millions of dollars because I do deeper research, go deep as opposed to wide. It's why I travel to every single location. It's why I do deep research. The place that I'm at right now, I know why this place is changing right in front of my eyes, and I've only been here for 3 hours because I know what's behind the scenes. It's the stuff about the Gulf Shores Airport. It's why I bought land in Ennis, Montana. It's what was happening in Hot Springs, Arkansas before they shut down when John and I were investing there. It's why we started this capital group. You have to do the deeper research to create probably the most important word in investing, and that's leverage. Leverage, right? So people are going to be kicking themselves when they find out where we're at right now, right? And because the opportunity is early here, but it is really, really good. I love Sunday River, and you look at what's happening and you look at the investment that's going into it, and it's going to absolutely crush. But most people didn't know about that investment. They just look at, oh, somebody said Kenny Bedwell talked about it, about Newry and Bethel, Maine, and the Sunday River Resort, right? So Bill talked about it on his podcast. I should invest there. That is never a reason to go invest there. You got to do the deeper research. You need to look into the regulatory standpoint. You need to understand the traffic drivers. Where I'm at right now, literally, I was able to get, because I talked to like 3 or 4 different managers, to find out how many lift tickets they've sold to date, how many annual passes they've sold to date. Having that type of data really helps me understand an occupancy level and if it's up or down from this year to last year. Just like when we're underwriting. I mean, I did a deal. If you're watching this and you're in my inner circle and you haven't seen the impromptu training I did on, reinvesting your capital and doing return on equity audits and leveraging that so you don't have to have more cash out of pocket. That underwriting in my properties when I'm doing an evaluation is just as important as I'm underwriting and looking at the traffic and how I'm going to market to be able to draw people. Most of you aren't looking at that. That's why I crush AirDNA's 90th percentile, because I know what the marketing plan is before I sign on the dotted line. All right, Chris, you got 17 and a half minutes for AI. I got to go warm up my little fingers here because they're fucking cold. Everybody, have a great Monday. Love you guys. I'll see you guys next week.
Appreciate you, Bill. Thank you for hopping on. Yeah, that's the I'll kind of circle back, summarize a little bit of that for you guys, especially some of those that hopped on later. Bill is visiting a particular property at the moment that he and John Hodge identified as a huge potential upside. There's some stuff behind the scenes to kind of drive some of that decision. But as always, Bill is actually on the ground visiting it to not only put your eyes on the property, but on the area, what are the traffic drivers, why do people come here, asking people, having those conversations, which will play into the year's worth or decades worth of marketing to try and really understand who's the buyer, who's the person, and then build marketing for it. So I see some incredible questions. I see some incredible questions in here. I'll get to those in a second. I want to get some AI stuff really, really fast, and we can always continue this AI conversation in future ones, answer some awesome questions, and then I know Bill said to do in 30 minutes. I'll probably go over that because why not? I don't need it's a snow day here, so I don't really have anywhere to go anyway. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of different ways that we use ChatGPT for things. I might make it just bigger. There we go. That works. So with ChatGPT, it's all about how you ask it questions. And we first started using it, as you can probably imagine, we're early adopters of most types of software. So you can kind of see I have some things up in my toolbar here, ChatGPT, Jasper, and then Canva. We'll talk about each of those real quick. But we're early adopters. In the beginning, it was a lot of, you would ask it to do something. So I need to write an email to a guest at a specific property about this. And then it would give you a response. And then you'd spend a lot of time kind of going back and forth. Well, the property is in this location, and it has these amenities on it, and this is specific things I want to talk about. And there's just a lot of conversation back and forth. So there's a lot of, I would present information, it would give me information back. There would be this back and forth conversation, reworking it, and then eventually I'll get to something that's decently the way there. The reason we even use this tool to begin with, as kind of Bill mentioned, is that's not to replace us as individuals or our creativity or ability to write. It's to get us from 0 to like 90% of the way there as quickly as possible. So I spend my time putting in those fine details. So it's never going to know the information that Bill is researching right now. I had dinner at this place. It was incredible. You need to get the mozzarella sticks because they were mind blowing. Like that kind of stuff. Those are the things you add into marketing materials and into emails and the messages that make those things stand out from a guest services perspective. But it can get you awfully darn close. And so this is the golden question. I always ask it. And basically I tell it first what it is. You're a marketing expert preparing to create content for a short-term rental and only in Montana on the Stillwater River. This is Bill's Lodge 93 property. You'll be creating social media content, real content, guest messaging, Facebook ads, and more. What 10 questions you need to answer to write the best possible content? So I kind of flipped the script on it. Instead of me just giving instructions, hey, I need to make 7 days of social media posts. Hey, I need to make 10 emails for the course of the year. I have it ask me questions that it would need. So it's similar if I hired a marketing agency, they would have to do the same thing. Where's your property? What are key features of it? What's the overall aesthetic? How close is it truly to the Stillwater River? What are things to do in the area? What are nearby things to happen? Who's kind of your target audience? And so with that, I answer its questions, and then it's able to give me some truly detailed responses. Again, this is a conversation for those of you who haven't used AI a whole lot. So I adjust it. Its property name is Lodge 93. And then I tell it my favorite question. This is something at every boot camp we've had where people have a hard time understanding what a buyer persona is because it's a fictional representation of your ideal buyer. Well, how do you create it? Because I ask things like, well, how old are they? What do they do for a job? What do they do on a day? What's their income? And people are like, how do I even know the answers to these things? And the point is that you don't. But when you start putting those details together in your mind, you can then build out marketing material designed to reach that person. So it builds out an incredible buyer persona for me. Outdoor enthusiast Emily, 35, married, 2 children, lives in the Northwest, annual income $85,000. Some traits: loves outdoors, loves spending time with her family, appreciates the beauty of nature, wants to escape city, tech savvy, use social media platforms, rather be comfortable in modern spaces, prefers experiences, looks for properties that offer unique features and activities. So Asana gives you start to do it. But this is my favorite section right here, the pain points. What are Emily's pain points? What are the things that if you can solve for Emily, she will want to book with you? She has limited time with family, so she struggles finding time for vacation. The perfect destination, difficulty in finding it that caters both outdoor activities and her family's preferences. She has stressful environments, balance of work and personal life, all these things. So it took what I gave it and then built out this awesome buyer persona for me that then I can use to create all the content I needed to create. So like Bill mentioned, you're going to need emails, Facebook ads, the listing pieces, listing parts for photos, all kinds of stuff. So I can start it. Write a Facebook ad with suggested imagery targeting the above buyer persona. Actually writes me a decent ad, suggests some images that I could use for the ad, some suggested targeting for the ad. Awesome. Right, listing description to appeal to the above buyer persona. Boom, writes a really solid listing description that appeals to the person that I'm trying to reach, the buyer persona. Like Bill mentioned in his research he's doing on his trip right now. Okay, I want to make some Instagram reels. Can you write some scripts for me? Boom, here's some voiceovers for those scripts. Easy. I need some hashtags. I want to go viral on something. What do I do with that? So boom, here's some hashtags: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, great hashtags to use. This is my favorite one. What are the potential solutions to the buyer persona's pain points, and how can we highlight them in 7 days of social media content? So actually we'll say, hey, pain point 1, limited time. Pain point 2, finding the perfect destination. Pain point 3, stressful environments. Suggested image showcasing the property's screen surroundings, and then suggested caption for that image. But then I get to use my favorite command in all of ChatGPT, convert that into a table. So that changes all of that. So 7 days of social media content and do it easy. Image, caption, some hashtags so I can quickly do this. So the point of this is to save me a bunch of time, right? So then I could go into Canva. And this is, Bill mentioned there's two parts of Canva. I know there's a question about kind of AI image generation. And I'll talk about that before I get out of here. But there's two parts of Canva. Canva has stock images. And we've talked about this. If you go back and watch any of the other, almost every week, we mentioned something about on a Marketing Monday about stock and using stock imagery, how you can get your own imagery. So like where Bill's at, for example, there will be some stock elements we'll be able to pull from the area, but we'll also use Bill's elements to use for social media and from other things for that particular property. But this is how it lays out kind of a really quick, I hop in Canva, find an image around, only Montana or Glacier National Park or any of those, and then boom, use it, create it, and then I can use something like Markham STR to then schedule out a week, a month's worth of social media content like that. And that's the point of these types of things, right? That when you look at your time, like all of us have, you heard Ryan Bakey talks a lot about this. All of us have what's called a genius zone, or the areas that we super excel in. So as you can tell, Bill excels in several areas, but one of them in particular is seeing the marketability and understand the buyer persona of a potential property. So he that's way, way high on his genius zone stuff. What Bill isn't as good at is the administrative stuff, the handling the schedule and then all those things. Like he's incredible at the relationship building, that's the other stuff. So I need to give him, that's why I take all that crap off of him so that he can be the one that does and focuses on the things that he's the best at. But when we make stuff, not all of us are going to be excellent at making content or writing content or doing all this stuff. That's what the tools are for, to help us get to a place where you're better than okay, better than, well, I kind of wrote some social, I don't know really what to say, to actually being able to create good, great, excellent content. So I can just keep asking it things. And I'll put, I can't drop a chat from our StreamYard into the actual chat itself. So I'll put this in the comment afterwards, this whole thing, so you guys can see it. But if you remember a while ago, we built out a full landing page in an hour. This is how I did it, because I asked it, your design and direct booking landing page, create a bulleted outline. Then I added, actually build out each section. So here's the header section, the text that says, here's the property highlights section, here's the nearby summer winter activities section, and I just wrote a bunch of stuff. Then I'm able to take a template from Markham STR, copy, paste, change some images out, and boom, we're good to go. But it goes even further than that. So there's some ads. I'll keep going past all that. Write 10 emails to send to potential guests, provide value about the area and the property itself. So that kind of outlines them, that I could have it specifically write out the email. So boom, here's an email about the property, introducing the property, things in the area. What if I just want to follow up with the guests that previously stayed, thanking them and offering a 10% discount for next time? Boom, already written out, solid, saves a bunch of time. Basically, that's the same prompt. Rest of the former guests about top reasons to come back, but not about the property. Outdoor adventures, local charm, nearby attractions, all kinds of fun stuff. So the point of that, of the ChatGPT side, is to create as much content as quickly as possible. That's it. It's never going to replace you. It's never going to replace the expertise you have of the area. Like I said, it's one thing to say, hey, there's some great local restaurants in the area. It's another thing to say, hey, on your way into town, stop at the Gulf before you hit Orange Beach, because they have a taco that's to die for, and the pomegranate margarita you have to get because it's our favorite. Like those personal things are the difference between generic hosting and like top-notch otherworldly hosting. And that's what we try and go for, and that's how you be an expert in your market. The things to do, where to go, what to get, the recommendations people look for that have never been somewhere before. And that's how you use marketing. It's not all about Facebook ads and Instagram ads and email marketing, all that. It's a lot about just building a relationship with someone. So one, they want to come back. But two, when they tell someone about their experience, hey, we went down to Gulf Shores, we went to Olney, Montana, we went to Smith Lake, Alabama, they're telling their friends not just about the property, but about the experience they had with you as a host. If someone wants to not just come to Smith Lake, but come to your property at Smith Lake. They don't just want to come to Gulf Shores. Oh, Gulf Shores was incredible. You have to stay at this house because this host gave us the most incredible food recommendations. They told us the secret thing that no one knows about or only the locals know about. That's the stuff that stands out marketability wise that most people don't do, and that's why we crush it. Bill mentioned 2 other softwares I want to talk about, and I'm going to answer some questions. And if you have questions, pop them in the chat. I'm happy to go over them and answer anything that y'all have. This is a piece of software called Jasper. Jasper is very cool. It's learned differently. So I don't want to get too super nerdy into the way AI works. But basically, a lot of the AI things, they're called transformers. They learn on sets of data. And so ChatGPT's set of data is kind of wide and varied, right? I could ask ChatGPT for a recipe for cookies. I could ask ChatGPT to write me a novel. I could ask ChatGPT to write me a marketing plan, right? It has a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things. Jasper learned on writers, meaning the content it learned on is only people who wrote ads, sales, marketing materials. And so it leans to be much more person specific, much more organic, much more like it is written by a person. So I like to show this tool. There's a couple different ways, and emails are just kind of general and basic, but even for simple stuff. So say you're writing the descriptions to go under the photos of your property, and you have a large living room with floor to ceiling windows, right? Basic description. Well, I can have it create some variations of that. And just it sounds like this one. Spacious living room flooded with natural light from floor to ceiling windows. See how much better that sounds? It still get the keywords in. We talked about this, I think, a few weeks ago. You still get your kind of keywords of floor to ceiling windows, spacious living room, that kind of stuff, but it gives an entire different persona to it. Without me having to do a whole lot of work, it just created some variations. But the power is I can then take some of my things in here. So for example, let's go back to the listing description because that was probably a good space. Social, reels, boom. So I could take something like this and I could put it just into Jasper. This is part of a listing description. Dig it in Jasper and you'll see the comparison. I'll read you the comparison in a second. So the original was escape the city, immerse yourself in nature's embrace at Lodge 93. Cozy retreat nestled on the tranquil Stillwater River. Designed with outdoor enthusiasts like you in mind, this is the perfect destination to create lasting memories with your family. As you step into Lodge 93, you'll be greeted by the warmth of its updated finishes and inviting furnishings. With 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, there's ample space for everyone to unwind comfortably. The large master bedroom with the ensuite provides a private sanctuary where you can relax and recharge. So I'll just read one of these examples. Experience the ultimate nature getaway at Lodge 93, an idyllic retreat tucked away in the serene Stillwater River. Whether you're an outdoor enthusiast or just seeking a peaceful escape, this cozy lodge is tailor-made for creating treasured family memories. Prepare to be enchanted as you enter Lodge 93, where modern updates and cozy furnishings welcome you with open arms. The spacious sanctuary boasts 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, ensuring everyone can unwind in comfort. The luxurious master bedroom, complete with an ensuite, offers a tranquil haven to recharge and rejuvenate. So you can see how it takes what was there wasn't bad. Honestly, of ChatGPT things, probably one of the better ones. But then it just kind of takes it to that next level. And that's what Jasper specifically is good at. For those of you who want to know how we use Jasper and things, it's literally the content improver. And what does it do? It improves our content. It makes it sound a little bit better, even when I'm writing a lot of stuff. So there's a big difference between, for example, Bill writes all the emails. There's no ChatGPT. There's no Jasper, none of that. Bill writes it all. Occasionally, he reminds me before he sends it, and I'm able to then run it through Grammarly. Most of the time, I find out he sends an email just like y'all do because I get it in my inbox. But occasionally, I'm able to check it. But there's none of this other stuff in here. But a lot of the places we use it are places where we want to just get that extra sound. Don't want to spend a lot of time working on something, but want to really make it sound really good. And that's what we use Jasper for. I went Canva real quick as well, because like Bill mentioned, and you want to create content. A lot of it's just based on how much you have. So Canva is incredible because I can really look up. So I've done this before, obviously. Whitefish, Montana, for example, I can look at photos, and then it can actually, these are all photos I could use for different things of whitefish, of things around whitefish, if there are specifics. So if I did like Gulf Shores, Alabama, same kind of thing, where it just has pictures of certain things that might have areas to get in. So these are stock photos. We talked about this before. And it's just a great way to be able to then quickly like make an image, pop on some social, make something, and then going back to what we said with ChatGPT, it gave me some suggestions about images to use. So it's a great way to do that. I want to hit those real quick before I answer some questions. So question number 1, is there an AI that will take your image and follow prompts to put it in different settings? So there's several options when it comes to AI photo stuff. For example, you have the professional side, which is more on the Photoshop side. So in Photoshop, they have a setting that's called generative fill. And basically I could take a person and just tell it, like select them and tell it, put them in the snow, put them in the beach, put them in wherever, and it generates the background and kind of makes it fit. For those of you who follow me on social media, I know I don't ever put my social stuff on here because mine's not real estate heavy. It's actually high school sports heavy. It's where I volunteer a lot of my time. But if you do, there's actually, I have a reel that I took a picture of a car and then put it into like 300 different backgrounds, like beach, mountain, lake, desert, road, city, all kinds of stuff. And all that was artificially generated. So there's some cool things with that. For properties, I try and warn people against leaning too heavy into artificial intelligence things, because you want things to be realistic. So you want the property to look like the property. You want the things around the property to actually be the things around the property. So someone doesn't end up saying, hey, I picked your property because it looked like there was, cliffs to do cliff jumping off of, and there's none of that around by you. You're like, well, that image was artificially generated. Like, you just don't want to get yourself in that scenario. But there's a few things that let you do that. Even I think Canva, some new AI stuff allows you to play around and put you in different places. So there's a few different things. I always caution people against the general AI photos with anything when it comes to listings or properties or social media around properties. You would rather use an actual image than a fake image. Okay, Kevin from Seattle. I understand making Facebook ads and lookalike audiences took the last few years ago, but I'm confused about retargeting once I have an ad set up, going out to my Stayfi and lookalike audiences. Can you explain? Also, do you send traffic to your landing page, Airbnb listing, or both? We'll start with retargeting. So there's a couple of different types of retargeting. For those of you who don't know, retargeting is basically I go to Nike on my computer, on my phone, wherever. I look at a pair of shoes. And then next time I'm on Facebook or Instagram, I see that same pair of shoes from Nike, excuse me. That's retargeting. They're taking the information and saying, hey, I want to retarget anyone who visited a specific page. And I'm seeing the ad because I visited that page. That's one of the ways to retarget. Your other ways to retarget, for example, you retarget someone who watched a certain amount of a video. So if they watched 25%, 50%, 13 seconds, or whatever the lowest amount, I think it's 3 seconds is the lowest amount. You target them based on the amount of video they watched as well. So that's another way to do it. There's some other options too, interactions with pages in certain ways, and some other things in there. The most common ones are you visit a certain page or you interacted with a video. That's the most common you see. So if you have your pixel, and that's a little piece of code that allows Facebook to kind of track where people go, your pixel on your landing page, then you're able to retarget them no matter what kind of traffic you're sending to it. So a lot of people, they make multiple pixels. You don't need to do that. They try and have a pixel per landing page. Don't need to do that. A pixel is like a bucket. It's just collecting data here. Let me move this out of the way just so you can see. Because like a bucket, it's just collecting data, right? So they email gets sent, goes to my landing page that has a pixel on it. Collect the data. Social media post, landing page, collect the data. They see my ad, landing page, collect the data. The key component here is they end up in my landing page because my landing page has the pixel on it. No matter how they get there, as long as they went to the landing page, I can then retarget people who visit the landing page. Obviously, some caveats of Apple got all, excuse me. Apple got all like privacy crazy, and so you can opt out of apps tracking you. That's kind of one of the things that made that overall less effective across all of Facebook or all marketing everywhere. But for the most part, you can still retarget extremely well because most people haven't turned that off. They leave it on. Like me, I left it on. I want to see ads, honestly. And so as long as you send them to a landing page, it doesn't matter where they come from. Then in Facebook, I create a new custom audience. I tell it I want to people who have visited this website or this specific page on this website in the last 180 days. That's as far back as you can go in time. And then it will create an audience that I can then show an ad to. So if you've been through the ad training, again, I don't want to get too deep into Facebook ads, but you have the objective. What's over here? You have the objective, you have which is the campaign level, you have the ad set level, you have the ad level. The campaign level is basically you are telling it what your objective is. What do you want people to do? You want them to watch the video? Do you want them to go to a landing page? Do you want them to purchase something? We usually pick traffic. That's the objective. The ad set is who's seeing the ad and how much you're spending. It's that simple. So whether it's a custom audience, lookalike audience, whether it's interest-based targeting, however you're doing it, you're saying who's going to see this ad, and then I'm spending $5 a day, $10 a day, $20 a day, $2 a day, whatever you're spending. And the ad is what is being shown to the people. So this group of people is being shown this ad. That's how that kind of works together. And so when you do retargeting, it's all in the same campaign. That's fine. But then in the ad set level, you choose your custom audience for retargeting. So actually, we'll name it. It'll be like build STR wealth retarget, or if there's a specific page like inner circle retarget. That way I know who the audience is. And then I can show them whatever ad I want. And it only stays the audience. So Facebook's going to yell and be like, we don't know how many people will convert. We don't know how big this audience is. All that comes from after the last elections when Facebook was used heavy to try and target people. They kind of reduce what information you can learn. But that's kind of the way that works. So you would just retarget that way. So to answer the second part of your question, do you send traffic to a landing page or Airbnb listing or both? We mixed it up, but understanding that anytime we send traffic to Airbnb, we're spending money to then give Airbnb the ability to retarget. And when they retarget, they don't necessarily show our property, they show properties in the area. And so just keeping all that in mind, where if they come to us, I have the ability to retarget based on them visiting our landing page. And so that's kind of the trade-off. And trade-off you get for that. And so we'll use both, we'll change it up, we'll send some to VRBO. We always mix it up in different places, but we primarily will do, if we're running ads, it's going to a landing page, necessarily to direct booking or a listing like that. Can we have one pixel per website and several landing pages? Yes, I have one pixel. It is for all of Build STR Wealth. Every landing page, every website we have, every product page, everywhere. One bucket. Because no matter if I had 20 buckets, it wouldn't matter. Because when I need to go create a new audience, I have to then tell Facebook, hey, I want these people out of the bucket and show them the ad, right? And so because of that, it makes no difference to Facebook whether it's one big bucket or a bunch of small little buckets. The only thing for me is it makes it more complicated if there's a bunch of small little buckets, because I have to find and be like, well, which bucket was the one on which page, instead of just saying, oh, I just have to tell it which page, and because it's one big bucket, it just knows and is able to pull it. So you have one pixel for everywhere. It doesn't have to be different for it. I get 100,000 organic views from my Facebook group when I post. Is it worth my time to learn how to retarget? So yes, you definitely want to learn how to retarget, because just because someone views it doesn't mean that they're necessarily ready to take action at that exact moment in time. Also doesn't mean you necessarily own an audience, because if it is a Facebook group, unless it's your Facebook group, but even then, as you can probably tell, there are however many, 30,000, 25,000, I don't even know how many people are in this Facebook group at the moment, but we send an email out to 20,000 people. Obviously, we're in the middle of the day and it's holiday, and well, for me, it's snowy outside, and so in Middle Tennessee, that's not a common thing. But We've had max 60 people on at once today, and obviously people will watch this later. But even our reach in our own Facebook group isn't incredible. And so being able to then retarget, get people's emails, add in the email list, all that's the process that you want. Retargeting is an important part because a lot of people don't make buying decisions right away. It takes seeing a thing a couple times. So I'll give a personal example of this, and that'll build probably even more so of that. I see ads for things all the time. I've, for those of you who may have known me for years, I've been on a fitness journey because I was about 400 pounds, lost a bunch of weight, put some back on. Now I'm in the process of losing a bunch of weight again, and kind of hammering down and locking down all those parts and pieces. So, but because of that, I get a bunch of ads all the time. And one of them was for a indoor sauna. One you can just put up really anywhere without having to have like the one the Bill's ordering. It's infrared and wood. Don't have all that. I live in an apartment, right? And so saw the ad. But do you think the first time I saw the ad was the time that I purchased it? No. I think the second time or the third time I saw the ad, or the fourth or the fifth. I think I looked it up and researched other ones and where the reviews or the shipping times, watched some YouTube videos about it. So by the time the end came where I purchased it, by that time, I probably went to the website 10 different times, went to a bunch of competitor websites, went to YouTube to research it. I know that's not every buyer persona, as people are different, right? And obviously I'm in the tech world. And so I probably research more than most when it comes to those types of things, because tech people typically tend to do that and love hearing other people's reviews or thoughts on a particular product. But it's still something that we retarget because people aren't always in the moment to make the buying decision right then. And you retarget to then bring your property top of mind for them when they are ready to make their buying decision. And each ad platform, each group, even normal organic social media hits people differently because of the way that the timelines work nowadays. But it's always a good tool to have, and it's always a good tool to own your list. So if you look at the rise and fall of social media platforms, the people who do the best of transitioning from one platform to another and one to another are the ones who are able to convert audience views on a platform to actually having emails, because an email is way more valuable than actually having just views on a particular platform. So that's kind of our goal with most things, is to try and not just show you something, but show you something in a way that either allows us to then show it to you multiple times again, or get your email so we can have a conversation with you. That's kind of the long-term goal with all of that. We haven't even talked about lead magnets and what those are. I'm sure we'll hit one of those up at some point in time over the course of a year of Marketing Mondays. And we're excited. We're going to do our best to try and hit every single Monday, even if it's not always live. Obviously, for those of you at the conference will know that Monday of the conference will definitely be a recorded one, because both Bill and I will be leading workshops during that time. But if you have any other questions, pop them in real quick. As always, we try and go back and monitor. So tag either Bill or I. I'm on Facebook way less than Bill is. Bill, I think his screen on time for Facebook is like 100,000. Because he's always on answering people's questions. Kind of crazy how much he spends legitimately so much time answering messages and on calls and all that stuff, which is beyond impressive to me. But thank you all. It's always great to have you guys here. We'll catch you guys next Monday on the Marketing Monday, and tell your friends, like, hey, pop in, watch the thing, tag some people in the comments, like, hey, you missed this one, check it out, because one, we want to cover content that's good for you, but we want people to watch this. This is why we do this thing. So I'll catch you guys next Monday.